Thanks for everyone for joining us. Tonight we meet Ronnie, who's from New York City and has a collection of unmatched storage containers. She would rather visit a war zone than her dentist. She hates cantaloupe and would step through a hanger for an incredible delicious bowl of chocolate ice cream.
So welcome, Ronnie. Our timer is going to start. We got 7 minutes to get started. Can you just tell us a little bit about the focus of your trip and where you went?
Well, the last trip, because I have traveled a lot, that's my passion, is every other year we save up enough money to go somewhere internationally. We live in California. I'm originally from New York, and maybe that's where it all started. My parents were from South America, but my mom went and had me in New York to return to South America, but she had me in New York, and my first international trip, I was 1 week old. So I've been traveling. So every other year we like to go somewhere internationally, and in between years we go somewhere domestically, like the Grand Canyon or Mount Rushmore. So that way we can save up, because I would rather save up for that than Starbucks every day, you know?
Oh, yeah.
The last trip we took was to Poland, the UK, and Ireland, mostly because my husband's heritage is from London, and he had never been to England. And I had been several times, but it was so eye-opening going with someone who's never been and was so excited. But one evening we were watching a movie, a documentary, and it had to do with concentration camps. And he stopped with the remote control, and my husband said, "One day I would like to visit Auschwitz." Peter said, "Done." So I planned it, and that's the last time we went, because now with all the COVID closures, we haven't been able to travel. So that's what we're talking about this trip, because it was our last one, our most current one. And so first we hit there, just because you don't want to end the trip, I don't want to say on a downer, but a more somber note. So we had a good jolly, London. And in between we went to Ireland. Poland was amazing. And what a bang for your buck. We should have really shopped all the time there, because the dollar was amazing. So that's the reason we went.
Right. That's great. So what did you learn? What did you really take away from that experience?
You learn about the Holocaust and about World War II in your history books and class and documentaries and movies. But being there, you feel it. And, I'm not getting all woo-woo, but you really, whether you're spiritual or not, you feel a sense of reverence, a sense of this really happened.
Right.
Things been changed. They've memorialized, and they try not to change much. They cleaned it up so people can go, but they ask you to really respect it. I mean, don't even pick up a pebble, please, And they take little groups at a time so that they'll keep the integrity of what was there. And they have, different cases, enclosed cases now, showing you the artifacts that were found there. I call them artifacts, but the articles.
Right.
Clothing, hair. I did not realize till I went there. Hair was used to make blankets and clothing for the officers. Hair from the prisoners, Holocaust victims. They would shave their heads and use their hair to sew things, and then they would take them into the showers and murder them. We saw the cells. We saw writing on the wall, literally, where the prisoners. And these people had such hope and faith. They just wanted to stay alive as long as possible, and many made it out. Of course, more died than not. But many made it out. And we know this because we have Americans who are here who survived.
Right.
So it was such a lesson in the power and the strength of human beings.
Yeah. I have not visited, but it's definitely on my list of places I'd like to see. I think it is important to be present in some of those spaces. And then when you talk about that feeling, that's something that happens when you're present in a space where, whether it was a good thing or a bad thing that happened there, you can almost feel it. I think that, I don't mean to be woo-woo either, but you really do get the power of those feelings that were present in that space. After having visited there, are there other places that you would like to go to that are similar to that? Did that place inspire you to go to more?
I have been to Normandy. And if you haven't been, it's worth seeing too. You take joy out of life being in France and eating the good brie, and you go to northern France. Amazing. It's worth visiting. It really is. So no, I'm not all about just seeing memorials. You see the great side of life, because even after going to Auschwitz, we went to the UK. via Ireland, drinking Guinness. When we were in the UK, we went to the military museum, and you really appreciate and learn much more of how the Allies worked together, including the United States. We had Americans fighting with the British before we were even involved with the war. So
Right.
it's an amazing trip. So other places I want to go to so many places. I have not been to South Africa yet. And I read his books, and now I really want to go. My parents, like I said, are from South America, so I've covered most of South America, but I've yet to go to Argentina. So I hope you guys have somebody who went there. And I've been through all of Europe, but that's because I lived in France for 5 years, right out of college. And Europe is pretty tiny compared to the United States. So I would just work for 2 weeks and then get on a train and sleep on the train at night, visit friends I made along the way. So I saw all of Europe because
Right.
but I really still need to go to Asia. See the Great Wall of China.
Yeah. So do you have suggestions for anyone that would want to book a trip to some of these places? Any things they should know?
Well, first of all, if you're going to go to Europe, save your money to shop in Eastern Europe, because it's beautiful, luxurious items that you see, in New York City, Paris, Milan, whatever, but they cost less. They still make money because their monetary unit is different. So when we went to Selfridges and all that, and Harrods in the UK, we saw the same things we saw in Krakow. We're like, oh, we should have done all our shopping there. But yeah, I would suggest that if you go to Ireland, rent a car, drive through the countryside. Yes, you're going to drive on the left side of the road. Well, it's fun. It's an experience, but it is worth driving. I like renting cars, and in big cities, I prefer walking.
Right.
But that's just my personal favorite. I don't like being confined in a tour bus and to your right and look out to your left, because I just like getting out and getting lost and being adventurous. That's more me. But we go through the little towns in Ireland, we went through the whole South Ireland. You really get to know the people, and you have to stop and ask for directions, and you park your car and you walk through these little towns, and you're seeing medieval things right there in front of you. It's just amazing.
That's our 7 minutes. Look at that. I knew we'd get
Oh, wow.
some great stories from you, Ronnie. Thanks for sharing. So that's our 7 minutes. Thanks, Ronnie, for joining us. If you want to subscribe below, go ahead and hit subscribe, and you can join us next time when we travel through real stories with real people. Thank you.